Hey, Demi.
Hey, Mimi. We're going to talk about Symone Sanders here. She wants to bring her authentic self to her new MSNBC show. Sanders is no stranger to cable news. She started as the national press secretary to Bernie Sanders and then later became a TV political analyst. She's known for her sharp political analysis and her unapologetically black style of commentary. Now, after lending her talents to Joe Biden's presidential campaign, as well as the office of the vice president, Sanders is returning to cable news. She will host her new MSNBC show titled Symone, and it will be also available for streaming on Peacock.
Usher, a.k.a. Usher, baby, and Maroon 5 will be headlining a benefit concert to honor the legacy of the late U.S. Rep. John Lewis. The benefit concert will also feature a program filled with inspiring community stories. The money raised will go to several nonprofits that prioritize economic and community development. The benefit was inspired by Dr. Martin Luther King's vision of a community where people work together to solve social issues like racism, poverty, hunger, and homelessness. The concert will take place in Atlanta on July 7th.
And thousands of low-income families in Los Angeles will receive free internet service. The new $50 million program will provide free internet service to low-income families in the LAUSD school district. $48 million of the program's $50 million budget is coming from federal funding. The program will provide laptops and tablets to 100,000 students over the next 18 months through providers like AT&T and Spectrum.
It's the best and the worst times of black entrepreneurship. Over the past 2 years, black-owned businesses open at a fast pace, but they're running into the same problems as most businesses, such as high interest rates and inflation, as well as supply chain delays. Now, in many cases, they're doing far worse than any other racial groups. Now, studies, they show that the racial reckoning after the murder of George Floyd encouraged a number of black people to start their own companies. The past 2 months after Floyd's death, Google searches for black-owned businesses near me, it surged by 75%.
If you ever dreamed of sipping mo on the living room floor of Biggie's childhood apartment, you may get your chance. The one shack in Brooklyn he rapped about is now up for rent. Yes, it is up, but it will cost you $4,000 a month. The new owner refurbished a 972 square foot apartment. It now has 3 bedrooms, hardwood floors, a formal dining room, a bike storage, and a common garden with plants and a barbecue area. It sold in 2013 for $825,000 to the person who is now renting it out. In an interview, the new owner called the apartment a historical gem, adding that the former drug-infested neighborhood is so calm and residential now, it's hard to imagine it's the same street Biggie rapped about with all the drugs and gunfire. The area is now considered one of New York City's best zip codes to live in. And this is something that happens across the country. I mean, growing up in St. Louis, in my neighborhood down in the city where most black people live, it was very inexpensive to live there, but you had drugs, you had prostitution in my neighborhood. Then when you moved to the county, they took the whole city, re-gutted it out, refurbished it, and now it costs about that same price to move back there. So I would love to go rent it. If I was going to New York for the weekend, with $4,000 a month, I'm good.
$4,000. Okay, so I don't pay $4,000 a month for my rent, but honestly, for certain neighborhoods in New York, $4,000 is average. Like, there are people in New York that pay like $5,000-$6,000 a month for their rent in New York. Rent in New York is really expensive. In Los Angeles, there are some friends of mine that pay over $3,000 a month here for their rent for an apartment. So I mean, $4,000 to rent Biggie's old apartment honestly doesn't seem like a lot of money. I would expect for it to be more than that.
Yes. No, I mean, listen, I just kind of feel like, okay, so this is Biggie, right? This is his childhood home.
Right.
We all know it from the videos. And then you just have this white person who is now selling or renting and making a profit off of it, and so shocked that you can actually live here now because it's such in a wonderful neighborhood. And so now everybody I can't believe this is the same neighborhood. Oh my gosh.
Right, but if
like,
that's what,
I hate that.
If
I
that's
just
what
don't like
attracts me
it.
there. But if I'm attracted to that apartment because of that, show me some history within that building. Show me some of the things that may still been the same in that apartment when he lived there, when Biggie lived there. Or maybe it has some things on the wall, but it's an everyday apartment where if no one told you Biggie lived there, you probably wouldn't know.
You probably wouldn't.
Unless you were a fan of it.
You're right. You probably wouldn't know, but there are a few things, Romeo, because they talked about this before, that they kind of kept together, kept that word of Biggie's. But it's just like you saw in the photos, they super modernized it and made it like really like updated. But there are a few things that they left that were when Biggie once had the apartment.
Yeah,
so
I'm just
they
not
tried to
here
keep
for
that.
it. I mean, it's a great, and I get that the neighborhood is changing, but gentrification for me is just, it's boxed us out. And so now it's safe to come back in. And, when you're giving an interview saying, I can't believe this is the same crime infested neighborhood, it's okay to come back now.
We can't be upset that happened to be a white person that saw a piece of land here that can make them some money. The first thing Romeo just said is, as a black man, is that when he goes to New York, he's going to rent it out. So,
but Romeo would have gone even before then. He would have gone before.
Yeah,
I think it's safe now for white people. White people feel like they can go now.
Okay.
Anyway. All right. A black-owned bandage company is getting a boost from a Shark Tank appearance. It's called Bandages. The company offers a diverse array of skin tone bandages. The founders went on Shark Tank in June of 2020 because they didn't have the fund to make the brand bigger. While on the show, their pitch landed them a $100,000 investment and a $75,000 line of credit with the judges. The trio also agreeing to split 25% equity in the company. After that appearance, sales spiked. The owners say they made $130,000 in 6 days. The couple has now expanded the line to include bandages for children.
And if you were headed to the Jazz Festival in New Orleans, Soulmates, we have some bad news for you. COVID-19 has forced organizers to cancel some of the performances. Willie Nelson, as well as Melissa Etheridge and George Porter's, they were cut from the lineup because of a positive COVID-19 case. And the 7-day festival started last week. The event, it draws tens of thousands of people to the city's fairgrounds, and as many as 80 musical acts perform daily on more than a dozen different stages. This year's lineup included Lionel Richie, Erykah Badu, Ludacris, as well as Nelly.
A civil rights lawyer who fought to desegregate the University of Alabama is receiving an honorary degree from the school. That's right. Attorney Fred Gray was awarded an honorary Doctor of Law degree yesterday. Now, the now 91-year-old represented 3 black students back in 1963 in their attempt to desegregate the school. Gray also represented Dr. King during the Montgomery bus boycott. The commencement marks the 50th anniversary since the 3 students became the first black people to graduate from the law school.
And at least 30 people are confirmed dead after a hotel explosion in Havana, Cuba. Search crews were back on site today looking for possible survivors or more victims. The 5-star hotel Saratoga was preparing to reopen after the pandemic when a suspected gas leak ignited. The explosion damaged a nearby business and a church. At least 84 people were injured. 24 remain in the hospital. Several hotel workers are also still missing.
A Texas native went from homelessness to being tapped by the government to help small business owners navigate their bottom line. Sharita Humphrey says that she hit rock bottom before realizing that she needed to get serious about money management. After serving as a government tax examiner and auditor, she now teaches black people how to be better with their money and establish good credit. She says the two, they go hand in hand. And according to statistics, black people lag behind white Americans in financial literacy. Studies show that learning how to manage your finances can lower the racial wealth gap and build generational wealth for African American families.
Yale has its first black women's basketball head coach. Dalila Eshe spent 3 seasons at Princeton as an assistant and the recruiting coordinator. She helped lead the Princeton women's basketball team to the NCAA tournament. The former Florida star has no head coaching experience, but was an all-conference player in 2006 at Florida and played in the WNBA for Seattle, Washington, and Atlanta. She also played professionally for 8 years overseas.
Coming up, Blac Chyna is charged with a crime. We'll tell you what her last couple of weeks have looked like. And Pete Davidson said he's clowning Kanye. We'll explain next on Fox Soul's Black Report.